32 Craziest Disney Stories from Employees, according to Reddit. Number 32. Craziest thing? Hard to judge. In general, it was really bizarre how 50% of the employees take the job very seriously and live the Disney mindset. I do not have the diction skills to nearly convey how bizarre this is to experience on a day-to-day basis. Picture going into work every day and watching people that have been working the same ride 10, 15, 20 plus years put on the biggest smile because they legitimately enjoy what they do and never get bored. Shit was eerie, man. Jungle Cruise got old for me in a week or two, but was an exciting experience for these people every single day for years. Admittedly, I would get a bit giddy when a 6-year-old girl would want her picture taken with me because I made her day with fake jungle tour. Enough was enough after 3 to 4 months. One time I whipped out my phone when no one was looking, except the coworker dude next to me. He was around my age, 20 to 25. I thought the guy was cool, but he proceeded to lecture me about how it ruins the experience for the guests if I break the show by doing that. I was checking the time, dude. Do you think these people seriously believe I'm a 1930s jungle explorer? It was fucking 9 a.m. No one was there yet. All of the managers smiled so hard, I swear their facial muscles needed some serious relaxation techniques every night. One girl, super hardcore Disney employee girl, got written up for not smiling enough, which is impossible in my eyes because the girl was smiling 24/7. And she held back tears best she could until break, when she was crying buckets in the break room until her shift resumed. One more thing before this becomes a wall text of doom. Those Disney tunnels you hear about, Google if you don't know, are nearly religious in their indoctrination attempts. If you think churches are bad, you have not spent 1 minute in a Disney tunnel. Now I'm interested. Disney tunnel, huh? We gotta look that shit up later. I love the idea of living in some sort of Groundhog Day life where everybody's just super excited and happy to do this crap, but you did this shit yesterday. You did this shit for, last week, the whole week. You did this shit last month, the whole month. Number 31. Former CM at DLR. I don't know what the hell any of this means. Not in the park. I was hotels, but I saw a guy jump from the top floor of the former Wonder Tower at Disneyland Hotel. Was on the clock at the time and ran over, and it was like a giant water balloon filled with blood popped. Happiest place on earth, baby. Number 30. Today I learned there is shit everywhere at Disney. Well, yes there is. Yes there is. Literal shit, guys. The place is infested with mice. What do you want? What do you think the Mickey Mouse is all about? You know what I mean? He made that place as a home for his homies. A home for his homies. Number 29. Former cast member here. I spent many years at one of their media companies, but in college, I worked at a Disney call center for the Disney catalog. Eventually, they opened a new division that was the Disney World Priority Seating call center. So people would be calling me in Kansas looking to make brunch reservations at Cinderella's castle. We were told to never let people know we weren't actually on the property. If a customer asked where we were located, we were told to say, "I'm at Disney." They would even write weather updates every half hour or so on a big board overlooking the call center room. Okay, man, this is kind of creepy. Look, 28. Late to the party, but I was a safari driver at the Kilimanjaro Safari attraction in Animal Kingdom. We had this elephant named Willie. Willie was an exhibitionist. I was driving a safari one day, spewing out facts about elephants, when I heard a tiny voice from the back of the truck yell, "Mom, he has 5 legs!" I turn, and sure enough, there's Willie standing there with his 5-foot-long dick swaying in the Florida breeze. I had to turn my mic off. I was laughing so hard. Number 28. Elephant penis. Number 27. Oh, this one's got a couple of little numbers here. Not me, but my older sister who worked at Disneyland for around 4 years. Number 1. Star Tours. Wife trying to give her husband a hand DJ with their daughter next to them. After making an announcement about family friendliness, she tried again, but this time over the pants. Second reminder stopped that. Full cabin of people, by the way. Ugh, disgusting. Number 2. Monorail. Sexist foreign dude refuses to stay in the nose cone, the front part with the driver, with a female pilot. Just over to the next stop. He then got bumped out by another girl. He walked off in a huff at downtown Disney, not knowing he was outside of Disneyland. Well, number 3. Guy gets out of a car at Autopia. Okay. Walks toward the exit stairs, stops for a second, and a piece of poop just plops out of his cargo shorts. He just walks away. Man, come on now. Number 4, Autopia again. Someone pooped on the damn, people pooping a lot on Autopia, but shit really is everywhere at Mickey Mouse's home for his homies, Micelyland. Number 4, Autopia again. Someone pooped on the exit ramp and people ended up tracking it all over the place. Had to make a human wall of cast members to stop people from walking in it. Biohazard and all. And they were all probably smiling and dancing like, yeah, don't even look over here. Number 5, late at night, so the monorail's fairly empty. Couple gets in the back. Obviously a little bit shady, so we checked the cameras. About 2 minutes from the station, her head was in his lap, between his knees. The quote was, "Hey, we'll be at our stop in about 2 minutes, so you might want to finish up." Didn't stop. "Yes, we're talking to you two in the back." They stopped. Oh God. Number 6, Star Tours. While checking the seat belts and came across a lady with a backpack on her lap, so I told her to put it under her seat. She refuses, and I notice that the backpack is moving. I asked her to open it and she still refuses. I asked her one more time and she did. There was a baby in the backpack. There was a baby in the backpack. I'm like trying to peer over my microphone to see the damn screen. I adjusted the microphone and it's just at a completely uncomfortable position for me right now. Do you feel like you need to know about all of this as I'm reading it? You know, are you new to this channel? Because, you know, this is the type of shit that I'm typically on. Number 20. Sorry, I almost like hiccuped. That was weird. Number 26. Never worked there, but one day when I was in line for a ride, I think it was Space Mountain, this little girl in front of me was complaining that she had to go to the bathroom. They were front of the line. Okay, they were front of the line. So her parents didn't want to leave the line. They argue, and eventually the girl squats down and shits on the ground. Man, this is the poopiest list in the world, and we're not even in the top 20 yet. She then picked up her turd and holds it up to her mom's face. If that isn't enough, her mom then proceeded to puke all over the ground. The little girl looked like we was about 8. I just don't fucking know, dude. What is English? We was about 8. Has anybody said anything about this? Listen, let's keep going here, man. Here's autobiography over here in number 25. Number 25, I used to be a cast member and would work evenings on the attraction Sounds Dangerous, starring Drew Carey, because one R would imply that it's staring Drew Carey. Yeah, so if I open this, there's 2 R's. Starring. My God, you mother... Sounds Dangerous, staring Drew Carey. Sadly, this attraction is now closed, but it was fun for me during my college program. Most of the workers didn't like the gig because you had to get on stage and give a speech, and it was a one-man show kind of attraction, so you worked alone. For me, it was a chance... For me, it was a chance to get a few hours to myself while working in the busy park. My other position My other position was at the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular. Anyone who is familiar with the attraction knows that there were 8 minutes of complete darkness during the show, so that they can play mind games with sounds, buzzing bees, knives whizzing past your head, etc. What they didn't know is that I had a monitor in the back connected to a night vision camera, so I could keep an eye out for children that got scared, and I could help escort them out. Yeah, it was fun to watch the reaction of audience members when the sounds were happening, especially when everyone would squirm and scream when the elephant squirted water at them. But it was far more interesting to watch people who thought no one could see them. There were lots of people making out. I have heard some stories of people trying to have sex. Don't ask me how, but I'm pretty sure they were caught since the screen comes back on halfway though and then goes out again. I never saw anything that extreme, but here is my wildest story. One time, as soon as the lights went out, I saw a guy straight up finger bang his girlfriend or wife. It was obvious that he had been on the attraction before because he had it timed perfectly so that no one knew what he was doing. He wasn't even caught when the light suddenly came on, and he was back at it as soon as the lights went out again. These kinds of things were not common occurrence, but it was funny to watch those people carry on as if nothing ever happened afterwards. There's actually a story about a guy trying to get head in that particular attraction, and then the girl biting down. I think when shit like frightens her or something. Pretty intense. Okay, guys, number 24. Overnight cast member here, please leave your cremated loved ones at home. Stop dumping them in Haunted Mansion. They just get vacuumed up and disposed of. I don't know why this is so popular a thing, but there are lots of people taking, people's ashes. Like, some people, when they die, they get cremated, which is they burn them up, and then they collect their ashes. They take their ashes to Haunted Mansion and dump that shit there. And Haunted Mansion is legit haunted for reasons that we don't need to go into, but why are you dumping your people there? You know what I mean? Somebody said, I didn't know this was a thing. Are there any reasons for someone to dump ashes there? Dumb ashes. The puns. This is how they supply the ghosts for the Haunted Mansion. Brilliant. Number 23. Not Disney, but I worked at Universal Studios. A guest had a heart attack while waiting to board a tram and collapsed in the tram lane. Paramedics arrived and I watched in disbelief as my supervisor ordered them to move him out of the lane while they were actively working to stabilize him so we could resume tram service. They told him to fuck off. And that supervisor was like, come on now, we gotta, come on, we gotta get the line moving, And the paramedics were like, no, okay, you're an asshole. Good for them, says a commenter. Number 22, here we go. Hello, I'm using an alternate account for this, but I've written about my experiences working as an atmosphere character at Disneyland before on Reddit. I played a multitude of characters at Disneyland in Anaheim, California from 2007 to 2009, including Goofy, Woody, Baloo, Mr. Incredible, Frozone, Captain Hook, and other tall ones. I have a lot of interesting stories, some more along the lines of crazy/drunk guests, and some about employees doing really dumb things like diving into a fountain head first while dressed as Tweedledee. If anyone's interested, I can share more. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, this photo was taken backstage in employee-only areas. Okay. It's myself and another cast member. Brilliant. Well, I guess he didn't really tell a story, so let's go into it. The Tweedledee story. I was out in Fantasyland Hub as the Queen of Hearts, who is pretty much always played by a dude. Interesting. And there was an Alice and both Tweedles out there with me as out there as well. We were having lots of fun as a unit, with me acting like a prissy bitch and making people bow and curtsy to me and kiss my hand, etc., and the Tweedles causing general mischief while Alice talked to the kids. We were over near the Dumbo ride, and there's a small fountain over near the line for the ride that was drained for whatever reason on this day. All of the coins that people throw in there were still in the fountain, and I guess one of the Tweedles decided they wanted to steal some change, but they're only about 5'5", and the costume is basically built around a hula hoop to give them the round shape. So when they bent over into the fountain, he fell in and was stuck. I just remember turning around and seeing the feet sticking out into the air, kicking back and forth out of the fountain. It was amazing. Okay. You guys are okay. Number 21, man. Maybe not the craziest, but certainly the grossest. One day a kid ate a bunch of pasta with marinara and promptly threw it all up right in front of the entrance to Big Thunder Mountain. It was a huge pile of watery barf, easily 2 feet wide and 3 feet across. Let me tell you, I've seen some barf in my time, and this was the widest covering, wateriest barf that I've ever seen in my life. You think you've seen some barf, but I'm telling you, this barf went as far as the eye could see. So we called custodial and set up a couple of trash cans to do our best to block the area off so people wouldn't step in it. Well, this dude wearing all white shirt, shorts, shoes, comes running down the path from the exit of the ride to try and get back into the line as soon as he can. We tried to yell at him to stop running, but it was too late. He thought he would be super cool guy and jump between the trash cans. He didn't count on there being a river of barf. So he jumps, lands in barf, and his legs slip out from under him and he falls, rolls into all that red marinara barf. And it took him a few seconds to comprehend what had just happened, but he eventually let out a blood-curdling scream. Oh my God, it's barf, oh my God. Thankfully, a manager was walking by when all this happened, so my feller greeter and I didn't have to actually deal with him. We did have to write a quick report on what we had witnessed in case the guy tried to sue or something. As far as I know, nothing came of it. You in that bath. Boy, you in that bath. Somebody else said this person still says, I also was a jungle cruise skipper during my time at Disneyland, and lots of crazy things happen in the jungle. Most of them are kind of boring, like a swarm of bees forming, so all the boats had to reverse back into the dock, or someone falling into the water, which is gross. But I wasn't actually in the boat for this one, but I was working the attraction that day. They loaded a boat and sent it out into the jungle, as normal. The skipper got about halfway through the trip, and out of nowhere, this Korean lady started screaming at the poor guy in front of her. The skipper tried to calm the lady down, but she kept screaming and yelling at him in Korean. Then she full-on attacks him. She lunged at him with claw hands and started scratching at his face and kicking him. He was doing his best to fend her off, but she was on him, man. When things like this happen, it's what we call a 4-shot. What? The skipper loads 4 rounds into the pistol, fires them all to alert the other boats in the jungle, and hopefully the people dock. Then radios into the dock that they're having a medical or security issue. Then they just book it as fast as that boat can go back into the dock. The dock stops loading and just sends everyone ahead of the boat into the jungle so that the emergency boat can come right in. So the skipper gets the boat into the dock, and when she rounded the corner, basically half the people on her boat were trying to hold this lady down while the guy she attacked was cowering in the back bleeding. Luckily, security had arrived and medical shortly after. It took 3 security officers to eventually subdue the lady, while medical services strapped her down to a gurney. After they had her secured, they escorted her backstage behind Tomorrowland to an ambulance. Eventually, they got a translator and tried to talk to her and her family, and it turns out that the lady was schizophrenic and had decided that she wasn't taking her medication that day so she could try to better enjoy the park. Ugh. She just happened to have an episode in the middle of the jungle, and the poor dude sitting in front of her got all of the wrath. I don't remember what the compensation was for everyone on the boat, but I know it was definitely more than a riad. Oh, damn. Mom spaghetti. Because of the first story with the dude, the marinara. Unbelievable. Number 20, guys. We're bringing it into the final 20. I say final like I'm going to get through this anytime soon. Why do I take these on? Number 20. When I worked on Space Mountain circa 2003, Tom Cruise came on Space Mountain with his then-girlfriend Penelope Cruz and her family. His group gets on the ride, they go have fun, they come back to the station. As is standard procedure, we ask if they wanted to stay in the car and ride again. This is so they don't have to get out, just to immediately reboard. Star privilege. We dispatch the car and it starts to move forward. Penelope's non-English speaking family starts flipping out. Apparently they didn't want to go again, so they stand up. This causes us to press the button to stop the cars in station only. Alarms start going off as the ride is about to break down if we don't start moving them. The alarms start flipping out. The escorts, everyone but the people who work the ride, are flipping out, beeping, yelling, good times. Anyway, we release the station stop, and I have to manually tug the car to the next station in the next spot in the station via the passenger handlebar in the front. This is when my hand came in contact with Tom Cruise's. I never washed it again. For more interesting stuff, this is my Ask Me Anything I did a while back. I love that all these Disney employees want to do Ask Me Anything. You guys are fucking crazy. We don't want your crazy. We just want small dose. We just want small dose of that crazy. Number 19, grad night 2007. I was walking out of Space Mountain break room and saw one of my guy friends at the then Honey I Shrunk the audience look like he was about to vomit, and one of my girlfriends who was laughing hysterically. Apparently in the dark of the theater, some girl decided this would be a good time to go down on her boyfriend. Little did she know, about halfway through the show, one of the effects is that the little tube comes wiggling out of the seat to simulate mice running through the legs. This hit her throat, she bit down, and he was bleeding pretty profusely. A grad night to remember. No, but seriously, I remember that story about this guy getting his dick bit off. You understand me? So they go on. Other crazy Space Mountain stories usually involve stupid people jumping in and out of moving cars. Here's the ones that I remember the most. Number 1, this guy was separated from his wife getting into the first row because he wasn't paying attention and the gates closed. Space Mountain has a very delicate time system, and generally we don't have enough time to reopen the gates. I was trying to shout across the track and tell him that he would pull his wife out so they could rejoin, but I guess the CM checking lap bars asked, and she said she didn't mind and didn't want to be pulled out. So he solves the problem. Was he too scared to ride alone? Is he just a dick? I will always wonder. By jumping into the track line like an asshole to chase after the car when the gates open. My first time I ever had to hit the emergency stop. That dude jumped into the track. Come on now. Number 2, a rather tall man was sitting in the back row and looked really uncomfortable. I asked him if he was sure he wanted to ride, as his legs were smashed against the seat in front of him, and he assured me that he did. Next thing I know, I turn around and see him climbing down one of the flights of stairs leading up into the attraction. This asshole decided he wanted to get out, and because he was so tall, the lap bar didn't go down so far as to lock him into the ride. It just boggles the mind that he decided to climb out in the pitch black area where he had no idea where any of the stairways and walkways were, and just take his chances that he wouldn't fall into a track and get crushed by a ride vehicle. I like the idea of him just getting hit and then, totally being bewildered as if he didn't know that there was a ride going on here. What the hell you mean? I'm gonna get hit? Somebody else responds, nope. I just remembered my actual favorite craziest story. Someone had left an abandoned bag at the base of Space Mountain for more than 15 minutes. So we followed normal security procedures and they brought a bomb dog out to sniff it. Jesus Christ. It must be so scary working at this fucking place. When our Pluto came to check the bag, he sniffed it, then sat down, which signals there is something wrong with this bag. So we had to evacuate all of Tomorrowland. Literally all of the attraction stores, restaurants, and all of the CMs were standing at all the entrances, freaking out now, of course, because we were sure a bomb was going to go off and that we would all die. Turned out the backpack was just forgotten, full of carne asada burritos, and Pluto sat down because he thought he was getting a treat. Dogs will be dogs. Woof, woof, doggy, doggy, woof, woof, bow, wow. Do I get carne asada burritos? Number 18, man. Employee at the original Disneyland here. I have spent most of my time at the gate and screening tents. How long have I been reading? I'll list a few. Man cold clocks a girl security guard in California Adventure on New Year's Eve. All Disney police come out and a massive fight breaks out between security and the guy with his 2 friends. The original attacker chips his tooth and starts yelling "ow" repeatedly from under like 4 or 5 guards on the floor. States that he gave them no right to touch him like that. While screening, an Asian man comes in with a Segway, not allowed, goes right past me and ignored everything I say. He has like 12 people with him, all Mexican. What? And talks only through them. His friend states that I may check his things and his Segway in his as his disability device. The Asian guy's manner suggests he is used to being treated like a king. He doesn't look me in the eye, wearing business attire, says he's a CEO, etc. I tell him to stay there while the lead goes. It's an Asian man in a business suit on a Segway with a legion of Mexicans. Okay, man, this is pretty wild. I'm sorry. I tell him to stay there while a lead comes out. He starts heading he starts heading very slowly to Disneyland Gate, trying to sneak away. I walk up to him and he tells me that I will get Disney in big trouble for what I'm doing. Security ends up coming and spends 2 hours with him before they escort him out of the resort. The Asian man and the Mexican group with him reveal cameras and microphones all on them and say they are making a lawsuit case out of this exchange. Nothing came of it. Recently, a hobo man comes in, throws a snail stuffed animal, like the Turbo, that one movie no one saw, into some bushes, and we treat it like it's a potential threat, like a bomb. We separated the area while the dogs were coming to investigate, and I lose track of it, and a kid hands it to me saying it was lost and found by him. I freaked out a little bit, but it was just a stuffed animal in the end. Man calls my friend a bitch at the ticket area. I close off his arena and said, "You aren't coming in today. Please choose a day you can be a human being." It felt amazing. He eventually came in though after an hour with managers. Oh. Lady has a jug for her kid to pee in. I don't know why. We tell her anything to hold what should go in sewage is not allowed. She says we will take it back to the car. She tries to hide a pee jar on her person and gets it all over her. Ooh. Fat lady. Tries to fit through turnstile. She can't. She tries big stroller gate. She can't. We had to open our overflow gates for her. She was pissy with me the whole time, as if I forced pounds and pounds of sugar and fat down her for all those years. There are so many more. I'll put them as I remember them, and then here's some more. A guy comes in with his mom's pass. He's about 22 years old. No picture on file, with the name of Pauline. Wanting to not directly call him out, I ask about it, and he stated it's just a weird name his parents gave him, and I shouldn't ask about it. We pull the file to ask him some questions about the pass. Simple things: birthday, email, see if it matches the info on the card. He gets on the phone as soon as we pull it up, and as we ask him questions, he describes the questions on the phone, saying birthday really loud when it's asked to him. It's obvious it's his mom. He called because he didn't know her birthday. He even got it wrong when his mom told him directly on the phone. We took the pass and he tried to bro fight me, I guess, where he gets all close and says, "What the fuck, bro? What's your problem, bro? Come at me." He was eventually escorted out. Big lady driving a ECV crashes into the stroller gate as my friend is opening it, breaking his arm. Jesus Christ. Most gates on Disney's side have been removed since, if you've been there recently. Jesus. Many personal vibrators found while looking through bags. Some people really like Disney. Okay, man. Some big lady on an ECV kept snatching her bag from me just as I was about finished, and it made me investigate it more, and I found tequila at the bottom. She said she forgot it was in there and chews me out. Okay. Angry guy with poor English is trying to get into California Adventure with no ticket. Sorry about that noise. He's trying to get into California Adventure with no ticket. I find out he is really trying to go to his car. I explain in as many ways as I can that the park is not where his car is. He gets mad that he gets so mad that he takes all my maps and throws them on the ground and shakes my turnstile. I opened my gate and let him in. Felt evil. I wish I could have followed him to see how far he went before realizing he is nowhere near where he wants to be. Fat lady. As if I had forced pounds and pounds of sugar and fat down her fat face for all those fat years. You fat. Number 17. Man, these are long. I'll never get through them all without being interrupted. Number 17. I worked in Frontierland Foods. Mostly at the smoked turkey leg wagon. That's what you all want. I know what you guys want. You want a big turkey leg. From January 1993 until August 1994, then a few weeks each summer through 97. This is pertinent information, right? I didn't see really crazy stuff, but there are a few entertaining ones that I remember. I saw one of the stilt walkers trip and fall during the surprise celebration parade. He was on one of those 6-foot-tall stilts and went down hard. 2 other stilt walkers came over and positioned their staffs so he could climb up and get back on his feet. He had to have gotten hurt, but he went on to finish the parade. The show must go on, baby. Nobody gets hurt at Disney. I saw guests nearly get hit with pieces of fireworks shell from Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, a special event after normal park hours. They were launching fireworks all around the park, not just behind the castle, and a big chunk of shell landed right in front of the turkey wagon. I ran out and picked it up before anyone noticed a smoking hunk of cardboard and plastic in the street. I still have it somewhere. I nearly walked into Pat Sajak. I don't remember who Pat Sajak is, and odds are that you're so young that you don't remember. But there are probably 10 people who are going to remember who Pat Sajak is. Boy, that face ain't ringing a bell. He must have been on some kind of game show. Wheel of Fortune. Well, there you go. He was on Wheel of Fortune. He was backstage as I was bringing my cash drawer in for the night, and he popped through the doorway just as I came in. He smiled and said, "Hi there," and was gone out the door. I was taking my paycheck to cash it at the cast members bank, which is behind the real bank on Main Street. As I walked up, the gate that leads out to the street slammed open, and Donald Duck stomps through, followed by Minnie, Goofy, and a few other characters. Donald ripped his head off, slammed it on the ground, and yelled, "Stupid kid, kicked me in the balls." That's how I've decided that Donald's voice really sounds. "Stupid kid, he kicked me in the balls." You're an idiot, Kyle. Sorry. All right, I had to try not to laugh at the enraged 4'6" actor and half a duck suit out of fear that he kicked me in the balls. Kicked me in the balls. What? Okay. Well, number 16. A coworker of mine at Disney World once helped escort Michael Jackson through some employee-only areas to avoid crowds surrounding him. He got an autograph on a napkin. Somebody making a joke says it was nice of your coworker to give Michael Jackson an autograph. You are not alone. I am here with you. Number 15. Not a cast member, but I witnessed a cast member do this. I was in line at Disneyland, California with a group of Japanese teenage tourists. They were ahead of me in line. I speak Japanese, so I could understood. Oh boy, sorry, my nose. Oh my god. It's just all coming out of nowhere. Sorry. So I could understand that they were making fun of Americans. They were mostly saying things to the effect of, on TV they seem cool, but all of these Americans are so fat and ugly. Oh my god. They were laughing and even occasionally pointing at people, and I was just staying quiet. But then one of the cast members, who evidently also spoke Japanese, walked up to them and told them in perfect Japanese, You guys should really be careful. Most Americans can speak Japanese. That fucking will shut them up. That shut them up. They all froze up and looked around at people, many of whom were giving them dirty looks. I nodded at them like I was backing him up, and they were horrified. They all left the line promptly afterward. This is hilarious, says somebody, and I feel the same way. I feel the same bing bong. Yoroshiku. Number 14. I worked at a ride in Animal Kingdom a long time ago. Saw an 8 to 10 foot long snake emerge from an area with lots of plants and bushes. It slowly works its way through a line of about 200 people, weaving its way through people's legs, strollers, bags, etc. Then it just casually slips back into another wooded area. No one even noticed. You noticed, though. You noticed. Somebody says, sounds like you need to stop doing acid at work. Somebody said, that's a lot to ask of a Disney employee. Come on. Number 13. I was a Disney employee for the summer. My 2 favorite memories. Number 1, coming out of the bathroom stall and washing my hands next to a half-dressed Mary Poppins. How cute. Number 2, I was sitting with a group of guys where Mickey and Minnie get dressed. When they came out, the guy started catcalling Minnie. And then the guy that was Mickey said in a perfect Mickey Mouse voice, "If you look at my girlfriend, I'm gonna pop ya." That can't be good. That can't be good. Somebody said, half dressed in what way? And then they said, in the most delightful way. Stupid Mary Poppins reference making piece of supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Number 12, probably a little late, but I was working in the kitchen at Cinderella's castle when the family of 4 came in on their dinner. About halfway through their dinner, the husband politely stands up and taps his glass for attention. He announced that his wife of 15 years has been cheating on him for over a year, and the entire place stood still in shock. He motioned for his kids, paid the waitress, and left the crying wife at the table. It's the happiest place in the world. Dude, that's classy. Ding, 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 ding. Hello, everyone. I'd like to call your attention. This bitch here is a cheating slut. Yeah. 1 year. Come on, kids. Come on, kids. That's the best one. Number 11. I'm not an employee, but there was this man that had scissors on him. Okay. Not sure how he got past security with that. He approached a little girl from behind with the scissors drawn and cut the string of her balloon. That's fucking crazy. It's like he's a villain for real. I cut the string of your balloon. This guy's a legit Disney villain on the loose in the park. He did not. We're all thinking he's gonna cut her hair with the scissors. He cut the string of her balloon. That's so rude. That's like bad and like an unconventional, like it boggles my mind. It's cartoonishly evil. It's curled mustache twiddlingly evil. This man's got a goatee and like a top hat. A dastardly deed, if ever. Boy, we need to continue. Number 10. Used to work at an attraction at Anaheim Disneyland. On the Indiana Jones adventure, there are 3 48-inch high checkpoints. Sometimes this shit I gotta put up with, Pat Sajak and this motherfucker. Pat Sajak ain't in the house. There were 3 48-inch high checkpoints, which small guests must hit. And there's often drama here. One of the lowest points in my Disney career was having to height check a midget. Ooh. I couldn't make eye contact. All I said was, really? All he said was, really? And I hung my head in shame and nodded. Another time, an African-American family had made it all the way down to the last checkpoint, which was in the station. The poor kid was too short, but the mom lost her mind. And when I said her child couldn't ride, she started screaming at the top of her lungs, "This racist motherfucker won't let my precious baby girl on a ride now, child. You're a racist. You a racist, and you're getting a racist, and you're getting a racist. Everybody look under your seat. You're all getting a racist." Oh my God. Thank you, Oprah. I cleared out the station temporarily, shut the ride down. She was escorted out and banned from the park. Ooh. Too long didn't read. I height checked a midget and didn't let a girl on the ride because she was black. Apparently. If you hung your head in shame, I bet you did make eye contact. Oh, we got midget jokes in the thread now. We're really zooming in on that exit as far as the list is concerned, because this is the home stretch. Number 9. I worked in Tomorrowland attraction at WDW. You like that? You like the way I started that one? I worked at Tomorrowland attractions at WDW. Okay. Walt Disney World. And there were many stories, but one of the craziest was when I noticed a Down syndrome child waiting in the back hallway, not a normal place for guests. I figured he was waiting on his party to finish riding. I was bumped out of my position for a break 5 to 10 minutes later, and he was still there. I got him to walk down to the unload area with me, figuring his family was probably freaking out about where he was. No one was down there waiting for him, and I waited for 15 minutes and realized his family was not on the ride. After calling managers and coordinators conducting a search throughout Tomorrowland, we found his family riding Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger spin. They just left him at space. I have never been so upset at work. There's so many others, but this one always comes to mind. That's crazy in another way, man. You ever think people go to Disney to abandon their kid? They're gonna find a way to get that kid back to you, man. Do you think that lost Disney orphans are made to work in the park? Do you think that some of those kids that were abandoned by their family get to work in the park? I say get to. Look, that's a real question. That's a real serious question. Here's another one. The shit people do with their own kids makes me cry. That's not cool, Kyle. For real, people do really fucked up shit with their kids. The shit people do with their own kids makes me cry. My kids are so freaking important to me that I can't comprehend anyone that doesn't feel the same way. I was at a park with my 2 little ones, and this little girl about 2 to 2.5 just wandered away by herself to the parking lot. So I intercept her and steer her back to where I thought she came from. A party of adults with kids and a party with adults and kids, a bunch of beer? A party with adults and kids, a bunch of beer. Kids, a bunch of beer. I try to get someone's attention, but no luck, so I yell, "Does anyone belong to this child?" And this woman, obviously already starting to drink, comes over and grabs her kid. I try to tell her what happened, and she gives me the nastiest look you can muster. I say something like, "Keep an eye on your kid, lady," and walk back to mine. So I'm standing there watching my kids play on the equipment, and these 3 guys come up to me and call me a pervert and tell me to leave the fucking park or they're going to throw me out. They are also a bit drunk from the same party. I think the mom talked some shit and they figured they'd do something about it. Come on now. Oh sure, I'm leaving right now. Hey security, these drunks just threatened to assault me. Handle it or I'll be calling the police. Number 8. I'm not a Disney employee. Oh, Jesus, stop it. I'm not a Disney employee, and the story isn't that crazy, so I really have no business commenting, but those guys have eyes like hawks. I had a couple mini air horns in my bag, and they told me I couldn't bring them in. I said I was going to take them back to my car. I walked a quarter mile away and tucked them into my socks. As I walked back, a guy flipped open his Disney badge, no joke, and told me I need to give him the air horns. I wasn't even mad. That was amazing. And he had a Disney badge. The FBI should start hiring former Disney employees. Come on now. Number 7. As my name implies, I work at Walt Disney World as a cast member. There are always a lot of crazy things I'd rather not get into, but one of the worst was one night during the fireworks exit. We had a bunch of 20-year-olds being dumbasses on the resort platform. They start punching each other in the arms, being the usual pricks to each other. One of them ended up missing his friend and cold clocking a 12-year-old girl. 12-year-old girl's dad had to be 6'4" and 320 pounds built. I mean, really built. It took 4 security guards and 2 Orange County deputies to pull the guy off of the bloody pulp that remained of the kid. His friend ended up jumping into the bushes to get away from one seriously angry father. You punching a 12-year-old in the face. That sounds like a TIFU if I've ever seen one. I worked in monorails too. About a year or so ago, a guest of Epcot Station, and a guest got off at Epcot Station and then told the CM to unload. At unload, he was going to be sick. The CM opened up the trash can so he could puke in it easier. The guest then proceeded to take off his clothes and took a massive dump in the trash can. What the fuck? Sometimes sick comes out the other end? I read this in Forrest Gump's voice. I'm not doing that. So anybody listening to this that wanted that to happen, no. Nope. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. My name. I don't even know what I was going to do there. So how about that? Number 6. When I was a kid at Disneyland, I was in line for a train roller coaster ride. A man on the ride just got his head ripped off when the coaster malfunctioned and he hit his head on a beam. So you're telling me that when you were a kid, you saw a man get his head ripped off because the train malfunctioned and he hit his head on the beam? The park employees just said the ride was broken and to come back later. They were escorting away the people who were on the ride with the guy who died. A couple days later, we continued on our vacation to Las Vegas, and our first night there, Siegfried and Roy got attacked by tigers. It was a good vacation. Somebody said I did some research, and the roller coaster accident wiki article is here. And they both happened in 2003. Wow. Wow. Number 5. My brother-in-law worked here there in the student program. 2 things he told us were the worst. Number 1, this couple were trying to ride Space Mountain and had a black duffel bag. He heard something come from the duffel bag, so he asked them to open it. They refused. Security comes, forces them to open it. It was their 6-month-old baby. Why y'all carrying around babies in bags? 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 Stop putting that baby in the bag. Stop putting that baby in the bag. I don't understand. I'm sorry. Why are you guys putting babies in bags? In sealed bags. Yo, I just had another thought. To answer the question, not answering the question, but just like adding another horrifying question. How many kids do you think that parents try to abandon, like deliberately try to abandon at Disney? That's a really gangster question. How many people do you think take their kids, like their very small infant children, to this outrageously populated place, try to seal them in a bag, and then leave them somewhere? They're talking about all these procedures they have for when they discover things that have been left and things that are unidentified. You know, they must find dead babies in those things. They must find dead babies. I'm sorry, it's coming at me like a whirlwind of a realization. All right, man, sorry. Number 2. I don't remember what attraction it was for, but he said a little boy from a Make-A-Wish got to go to the front of every line. This one lady saw it and bitched so loud about how this little trash kid didn't deserve to cut in the lines and a bunch of other bullshit. He described the look on the boy's parents' faces as nothing but nightmarish, heartbreaking shit. Ugh. He told the lady to get out of line and stop being such a bitch, explained that the kid was a Make-A-Wish, and she apparently didn't care and asked for the manager. Bitches to the manager. She is banned from Walt Disney World. My brother-in-law almost lost his job right there due to all of the commotion that was caused. Luckily, he didn't, bros. A baby in a bag. Baby in a bag. Somebody said, what if they were just going to just fire it out into the darkness during the ride? Like I said, man, it's got to be some people's deliberate intention to leave their dead baby at Disney World, and they'll call it the Disney World abortion. You know what I'm talking about? Number 4. Why is number 3 deleted? What happened to number 3? Apparently, "Mommy, make it stop" was a quote from number 3. I wanted that, and somebody else said I imagined Ralph Wiggum. Huh. I suppose we'll never know, balls. I suppose we'll never know, balls. Number 4, though. Former Walt Disney World cast member. I swear most of my crazy stories come from working there. Things I've seen more than once. Number 1. Adult drop trouser and take a dump next to a line of people and walk off laughing. Oh my God. Number 2. A mother climb a tree and swing down in the middle of another family's meet and greet with Beast. She didn't want to wait in line. Number 3. 3 people in wheelchairs in the same tree at another time. I have no idea. What the fuck? Number 4. A man tried to swim in Cinderella's moat during fireworks. I was guarding the ropes. I tackled him. What? Snow White being thrown over the shoulder of a drunk man in Epcot in an attempt to carry her away. This is number 5. But then they wrote number 5 again. Number 5 again. A Brazilian tour group beat the crap out of Donald Duck. What is everybody's problem with Donald Duck? Damn. Nights of Joy is hell on earth. The park is open to Christian youth groups and has Christian rock bands perform. During these nights, extra staff is put on and extra security because there is sex and drugs and theft happening around every corner. The managers were preparing us for it. They said that if you see a bush rustle, the kids are having sex behind it. The bathrooms have to be checked every 5 minutes. And any ride that goes dark for more than 3 seconds will have randy teenagers whipping their junk out. Those nights were terrifying nights. I've read this before. What the fuck? Number 2. I used to be a cast member at Disney store in my local mall. We were required to greet everyone within 10 seconds of them entering the store, and there used to be a game online that the kids would play about getting to the back of the store, grabbing a stuffed animal from the plush mountain, and getting back up to the front before getting greeted. I saw this one teenager run across the store and dove headfirst into the mountain of stuffed animals, only to quickly find out that they were on risers. He was taken away on a stretcher, but ended up being fine. And yes, I greeted him while he was in midair, so he lost the game. Brilliant. The game. Oh boy. Number 1, guys. This is a list from 3 years ago. Blame Stripes. She was dying for this to be read. I worked at Club Disney for the brief time that it was open. We had codes we used on the radio headsets that were coordinated with character names. For instance, B for Baloo meant that there was blood that needed to be cleaned up immediately. Oh, code Baloo. Okay. One day, I'm taking a stroll around the club, check on things when I spot a small boy about 2 years old taking a massive dump right in the middle of the play area. He sees me, starts to cry, and runs away with no clothing on the lower half of his body. I get on the radio and can't think of what to say, as we haven't discussed code for human feces in the play area and a naked kid running around, so I just said I have a code poo situation in the play area and piglets on the loose. Well, there's that list, guys. Hachi Machi. I feel like there's got to be recent Disney story lists, Limit it to Ask Reddit. We'll limit it to there. Okay. So we're searching via relevance. Oh no. There's one even more recent. Oh no. Well, we'll just make it a funk and waggles. It can't be that great. This list probably sucks. I feel like I've read this one maybe. What's the top one here? Let's read the top 3. If you hear an announcement over the park-wide sound system looking for a specific person, it is something very important. Announcements like that have a chain of approval before Disney will allow the magic illusion to be broken. But it's not always bad news, like informing families of death. I've done several park announcements to find someone to inform them that the organ donation was matched and that a medical courier was on their way to Orlando and they needed to get to the hospital ASAP. Interesting. Number 2, does it count if it's a different amusement park? The one I worked at has one of the sudden drop rides. A coworker found a single screw on the ground and they closed down the ride for days as they went over every inch of the ride. Turns out it was a screw that could have led to a seat opening and a rider falling out if it hadn't been discovered. One screw on the ground. The top one here is, as a character, you are supposed to throw up in your mask if you are sick. Taking it off is not an option. You could cover one eye with your hand and raise up one arm in the air to alert maintenance that you are not well. Also, there is another character, same as you. You cannot, under any circumstances, be seen with them. You also must take a course to match signature style for autographs. Interesting. Somebody said Eeyore fainted from the heat while I was hugging him at Walt Disney World on my 8th birthday. I was traumatized and thought it was my fault. My grandparents have a photo of it somewhere. Oh boy. Eeyore, what a downer. Oh my god. Somebody said at Disney parks, all the screws on the rides have paint on them, and where they're attached as a seal so they can see if the screw is loose or not. At least with that, they could tell if the screw belonged to the ride or not. Wow. torque stripes on them too. Stripes would like that. But Stripes ain't got the torque. Number 4, maybe. I worked at a cash register in Tomorrowland. A guy had a heart attack and died about 10 feet away from me. I called it in as soon as I saw, but they already knew about it. I went on break and afterward and saw the family literally behind the scenes crying their eyes out. That never happens. Guests are never allowed behind the scenes, except when somebody dies, I guess. Really kind of heartbreaking. On a positive note, they all got lifetime passes. You heard it here first, folks. You want lifetime passes to Disney World? This video sponsored by Disney, who hasn't given me anything, baby. But if you want a lifetime pass to Disney World, take a relative who's probably gonna die anyway. Make it real dramatic when they die. Talking big deal. Don't stop going on about it. Maybe they'll pull you behind the scenes. Maybe they'll make it worth your while. Really ham it up too. Your favorite relative they must have been is what you should say. Thanks for watching another Kyle video. Don't forget to like. I'm kidding, but not reading all this. Number 7, Tinkerbell that zip lines from the castle each night is an agent, dude. Dude, there's a man Tinkerbell? I didn't know. Well, there you go. Number 11, a friend of mine told me that the rules for coworkers for European Disneyland were so strict that they took to calling it Mauschwitz. Jesus Christ. When management got wind of this, they were told that anyone found using that name again would be fired. Apparently, it was only a couple of hours before they were calling it the cow. Jesus Christ. That's good. That's pretty good. Holocaust jokes, okay. Just end the list while we're ahead. Love you guys. See you soon.